Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I'm a Fefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Hope you like what you see. Hit that like and subscribe button. My members, always, mwah, you know how much I appreciate you. Also, remember, members, hit the notification bell here because certainly anything I do directed to you, I want to make sure you get word about it, all right? Again, if you're new to my channel, I mix it up a little bit. Clearly, I do my thing with the cards, but I do a lot of political readings, and then I also do a lot of spiritual readings, full moon, new moon, spiritual growth, etc., stuff like that. So I mix it up a little bit. I'm a former journalist, and I say that somebody told me once, you don't have to keep telling us your credentials, but I do that just in case you are new to my channel, because it'll give you a sense of how I read and how I do what I do. All right, you all, Democratic convention after night 2, right? I woke up this morning with Lil Jon still in my head, right? Turned down for what? Oh my gosh. It's been such a time, and a time that we so sorely have needed. I started to get on here yesterday after night 1 because I was so pumped up behind, watching Hillary Clinton and of course Joe Biden and of course the young blood, Jasmine Crockett and AOC. I mean, everybody has understood the assignment, gotten up there and just done their doggone thing. I knew yesterday, I was like, no, I'll wait and do it Wednesday, because I knew yesterday was going to be fire with Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, and what I didn't count on or know about or anticipate, you all, what about that DJ Cassidy with the roll call and doing the songs that were tailored to each state? That was what got Lil Jon in the mix for on behalf of Georgia. Like, they shut it down. It was just such a vibrant time, and as we could see, through the crowds. I mean, that's America. Young, old, black, white, gay, straight, binary, doesn't even matter. What matters is that unification. So anyway, you can tell I'm hyped up. Hopefully you are as well. I want to take a look at a couple of things, you all, today. Behind that, though, talking about the vibes and the flex of the Democratic convention. Did you hear how depressed Donald Trump sounded yesterday? Where was he? In Howell, Michigan. I'm gonna get to that in a moment. But I want to talk about in relation to this overall theme that's emerging from the love that is evidenced. Doug Emhoff, evidenced in the convention. Doug Emhoff's impassioned description of his his relationship and love for Kamala Harris and the dynamic with them, and then seeing another dynamic after this incredibly powerful speech by Michelle Obama for her to introduce Barack Obama as the love of my life, right? We need this. We need this evidence of enduring love and a spirit of love that permeates throughout all areas of the United States. And for my brothers and sisters who may be watching from other countries, I hope you feeling the love too, because as the U.S. goes, we recognize we live in a global world. So we're going to fight, like Barack Obama said last night, the world is watching to see if we can pull this off. So let's do that. Want to take a look, though, at, I was really struck by the presence of the GOP at the Democratic convention. We are seeing more people come out. What about Stephanie Grisham, you all, former communications chief director for Trump, who came right out and said, I can tell you firsthand what was happening inside the rooms on Jan 6 and how twisted things got, including she made reference to Melania, who tends to say, she reminds me of the old folks used to say, somebody who would throw a rock and then hide their hand, like, you'll never see me doing it. But apparently Melania was ice cold, stone cold, in relation to the violence that was happening that day and what, whether there should be intervention by Trump to stop it. Really interesting to hear her perspective. So number of GOP people are coming out. I want to take a look and see if, in fact, they've been calling, the word on the street now is the term for Joe Biden passing the torch to Kamala Harris is being deemed the switch. I'm asking Spirit about the switch from GOP to Democrats. Joyanne Reed had an interesting stat that she shared yesterday from MSNBC that she shared yesterday, that 8.5 million voters GOP voters who went for Obama in 2008 and 2012 shifted back to Trump in 2016. Whether that was because of the Hillary Clinton email situation, weren't ready for a woman, whatever that was, but there was this shift. And so the question now is being raised as we see more and more traditional Republicans, but Republicans who truly want a Republican Party, not the party of MAGA or the party of Trump, starting to say openly, not even going to go into the voting booth and do it secretly, but openly saying they are going to vote for the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz ticket. So I wanna go to Spirit and see if, in fact, especially in the wake of what we're seeing develop with the convention, this message of hope and love and unity, is this creating a groundswell of GOP voters switching to vote for the Democratic ticket for Kamala Harris? Will we see a groundswell of voters that switch? We have the Six of Wands. That ain't bad. I don't know that constitutes a groundswell. A six is more people coming out of a period of feeling conflicted around what to do about Trump. Was he ever going to straighten up? Was he ever going to, really talk about policies and develop a vision for the conservative party? Not happening. So I think, yes, they will certainly contribute to Kamala Harris's ticket and her victory. We have the Seven of Cups. I think there's going to be a mix up between what happens with people voting, perhaps with GOP voters voting for Kamala at the top of the ticket, but this feels like what might happen down ballot, right? There may be a little conflicted. So it could be some interesting ballots being turned in, you all, sort of a mishmash. But I do think for sure, Spirit is saying there's going to be Three of Swords. They're tired of it. They're tired of feeling bombarded by fear and angst and division and all the, it's not a place that you feel good in that mix, in that crowd. It's all about, if you don't, we're all about to be annihilated unless we do this. And the Page of Swords. We're going to hear more and more people in the next couple of months, you all, come out, conservatives come out in support of the ticket, the Kamala Harris ticket. And thank you, Spirit. Pages are young. They represent youth very often. I think this is especially for young conservatives or young people who have come up in conservative families who are going to either go independent, Democratic, and or even if they register as Republicans, we're going to see them vote for Kamala Harris. So yes, Spirit is saying without a doubt, there is, and we're going to, you all, if you watch me, you know how I am about my aces. That's when I know Spirit is giving me the thumbs up. The guides are saying, yep, we're on point. We got it. So yes, 100% you all. The switch is happening. The switch is underway. And I don't know about a groundswell. There are still people who are, for whatever reason, psychological, they've been duped, whatever you want to call it, misled loyalty, whatever. And rightfully so, we've been reminded time and time again by Kamala Harris, the Obamas last night, etc. It's going to be a tight race. The expectation is it's going to be a tight race, or we have to get out there and vote as if we are the underdog, no matter how good we're feeling, no matter what we see happening. We've got to continue to approach this as the underdog, but we are definitely picking up some votes. The GOP traditional conservatives, those who just absolutely do not like the direction that the party has taken, the basic disintegration of the Republican Party, they will be coming forward and voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz at the top of the ticket. Down ballot, not so sure. All right, moving on. So Trump, I saw a post where I heard that he was appearing in this little small town. Apparently he realizes he's not packing the big rallies. He's real caught up on the visuals here, and it just twists him up in a knot when he sees, oh my gosh, how they must be feeling after last night when Kamala Harris and Tim Walz not only filled up the convention center to the rafters in Milwaukee where his convention was, but at the same exact time, the rafters people were in the rafters at the DNC convention in Chicago. Like, people everywhere, right? Turned down for what? Amazing, just simply amazing. But it's getting them in the hardest place. So now he's going to these small towns. But what I want to take a look at is, I didn't realize this. Someone pointed out, I don't remember their name on social media. Each of the towns that Trump has visited this week or is visiting this week, starting Monday through Friday, these are towns that have a history with the Ku Klux Klan. Straight up. Like, not, this ain't about conspiracy theories. You look them up and you track down some history, and their ties to the KKK are obvious. I am wondering, and I'm going to Spirit to ask, is this part of his plan to begin to rile up what essentially he sees as his own militia, right? By going to these towns. Monday he was in York, PA. Yesterday he was in Howell, Michigan. Today, I'm taking this Wednesday, he's in Asheboro, North Carolina. Thursday and Friday he will be in Phoenix and then Glendale, Arizona, supposedly on the border issues. But these are areas that have strong ties to the KKK. And again, I want to go to Spirit and see if part of what's really happening, we know it's not messaging. He never stays on message. Is this about appealing and getting in front of his next, what he sees as his next Jan 6 Part 2 crew, people who will turn out for him and rebel when the vote does not go his way. Knight of Swords, yes. That is his messaging. That is him trying to spread that message and get these people mobilized. Is this a concerted effort to develop a militia, Spirit? That's what I'm asking. Is this a concerted effort on behalf of Donald Trump and his campaign to develop and mobilize, start to gather his own militia, people he knows he can count on, to 10 of Wands, people who will carry the load? And it is also because he's desperately in need of validation. We know that he's really, he's not well. The man is just not well. His need for, that narcissism is, and it's not just even regular narcissism. This is something else for the history books. But yes, that 10 of Wands is, he feels, or at least he is expressing, again, his whole, I am being persecuted, blah, blah, blah. He's spreading that message, but he wants to know, he needs that validation from those that he thinks Ace of Wands. Just told you all how I am about my aces when Spirit lets me know we're on the right track. So yes, and the Six of Pentacles, this give and take. I'm here for you. I'm going to need you to be there for me. So yes, this is a direct appeal to not just conservatives, not just the MAGA faithful. These are ties to white supremacists par excellence, right? Next level. Because I don't know, maybe some of you will disagree with me. I don't know that all the MAGA faithful are necessarily white supremacists. I think they are, maybe they are. Let me just back up on that. But I guess what I'm feeling, what Spirit is giving me, is that is not what they wake up every day identifying with. In fact, some of them might feel turned off by that and declare that that's not how they are, that they really see themselves as patriots. And patriotism means that America needs to be a certain way. America, blah, 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 right? But I just think there is some sort of distinction, Spirit is saying, between the typical run-of-the-mill MAGA faithful and the KKK. That's a different thing. And he is rounding a corner and actively recruiting and making a tie. Knight of Wands, appealing to them, making ties to them, getting them stirred up. Knights are movement. Wands is fire, getting them fired up. We are under attack. We are being taken over. You know, I need you, and the Two of Cups, for the sake of the family, for the sake of your wives. Did you see that post that came out on Truth Social? Was it Truth Social? And now, he's back on X, with a picture of, I don't know if I'm assuming they were immigrants, but there was this long line of black people, all you could see dark brown faces, and the caption in the post was, what about you? Are you just going to sit around and wait for these people to come and rape and pillage your wives and daughters, right? Woo. Okay. So yes, let's keep an eye on that. Where he's visiting, let's pay attention to where his campaign is going, because these towns that, at least for this week that we're seeing, there's definitely an intentionality behind that. All right, you all. And finally, last question I want to go to Spirit for on today is, I heard that. Bear with me on this one. I read that one of the holdups of the ceasefire is that when Benjamin Netanyahu came here, and at the behest of Congress, of the right wing in Congress, Mike Johnson and company, remember, as part of that, he left D.C. and traipsed himself a little down to Mar-a-Lago with his little sit down with Trump. They are saying, what I've seen on social media is, people are wondering if, in fact, there was a conversation had that's similar to the way Trump convinced the GOP leaders in Congress to stall on Ukraine funding. Remember how long that went on, to the point where Ukraine was at the brink, all right? Although right now excuse my language, they're kicking ass and taking names right about now. We're here for it. But similar to how long that dragged on, right? There was a deal reached, it was ready to go, and then boom, Trump said, nope, don't want this to happen, not during Biden's reign, we need to drag this out, and then it shut down. Thank God, the channels opened back up, and that funding was eventually approved. We're going to Israel and the ceasefire in Gaza now. The word is that Trump's doing the same thing with Bibi, and we know that him and Bibi are like that. Bibi should be ashamed of the way that he has treated Joe Biden, after how loyal and forceful and to his detriment. That was one of the reasons why we're seeing the protests now, in America around the ceasefire. Because people are like, Biden, why are you soft shoeing it with this guy who clearly could give a flip about you in America, who's gone so far right? So he's much more at home with Trump than he would be with a Joe Biden. That said, I'm asking Spirit, is this a conversation that's been had? And is there some sort of influence by Trump at all to delay a ceasefire in the hopes that if he were elected, that he could step in and have that happen on his watch? Is that a conversation, Spirit, that actually took place between Donald Trump and Netanyahu? Is there some sense of cooperation between them to try and stall a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas? Is that something that has happened, Justice? It did happen, but this feels like that's not the only thing. Netanyahu is enough of an egotist himself and narcissist himself that he's not going to base his actions solely on what Trump wants him to do. But that is a factor, weighing it out. That is a factor that has, so that conversation was had. Spirit, please give me more. The lovers. There's Gemini. The lovers is ruled by Gemini, and Trump is a Gemini. That's a discussion. That's a mutual, in the context of politics and what we're talking about. This is the two of them. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. We'll be good together. We'll look out for each other. Yeah, that conversation was had, you all. That conversation about holding off on the ceasefire, Ten of Swords, is the pressure that Netanyahu is under to do something, because this is global, and you got Blinken over there, you got the U.S. starting to mount more and more pressure, other forces. Yeah, this is, and the Four of Pentacles. This is how Netanyahu has been behaving. Four of Pentacles is sort of I'm not budging sort of energy because I want what I want. That is also why some of these extra conditions, all of a sudden, they found the terms that they were willing to agree to, and then boom, out of the blue, here comes some extra conditions that Israel threw in, and then Hamas was like, I don't know about all that. So we'll see what happens. I'm not feeling, Spirit, will we have a ceasefire in before the U.S. election? Will there be a ceasefire in Gaza before the U.S. election? So within the next 10 weeks. Ace of Wands. Let's go for it. Ace of Wands. That's a yes. Not sure how, not sure all the details, but Seven of Swords, though, there's going to be something slippery about it. It could be a temporary ceasefire. It could be something that may or may not hold. They may agree to it, and then because Seven of Swords is slippery. Seven of Swords is sometimes can there's some sort of deceit going on. Talking out of two sides of your mouth. But I do think we're going to see, based on this, it looks like something's going to happen before the election. And we have the sun, success, life-giving. So I think we're going to have a ceasefire. 2 months still sounds like an awfully long time. And that would maybe even I'm feeling by the anniversary, because it was October 7th, right? So maybe even by the anniversary of the Hamas attack. But it looks like there's something in the works, and a deal will be reached, hopefully sooner than later. All right, you all? All right, that's all I have for today. I wish you the absolute best. Let's keep this vibe and this flex that we have going on in the party that has gone beyond just the Democratic Party. It is welcoming those who are willing to come in from the GOP, conservatives, independents, wherever, whatever you do, middle class, working class, ethnicity, like that is the America that is at stake, and that's the America that clearly is being fought for. Oh, final question. Hold on. Is Beyonce going to show up on Thursday? We all want to know, or at least many of us want to know, right? Is she going to show up on Thursday? There was so much talk about both Beyonce and Taylor Swift. I'm not so sure about Taylor just because her concert schedule, but we certainly know that she's going to endorse, if she has not formally endorsed already. Not sure about that, but she's going to endorse. We're going to see some things from Taylor Swift prior to the election. I understand that her last concert date is November 3rd. So right before the election. So be aware, we're going to see something from Taylor. But with the use of Beyonce's song, we've been seeing, even last night in Milwaukee, you saw all the freedom plaques that were put on the stage around Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Will we see Beyonce at the Democratic Convention on Thursday when Kamala Harris makes her speech and closes out the convention? Will Beyonce make an appearance at the convention? I'm done. Straight out the deck. Ace of Swords. Get ready for it, you all. Drink your coffee or your caffeinated to do whatever you got to do, because I'm on the East Coast. These things have been running so late at night. But yeah, I'm going to put my money on the table that we will be seeing Beyonce in the flesh to help close this thing down and shut it off, right? Talk about the ultimate flex. All right, you all. Be really good. I appreciate you. Take care. We'll talk soon. Bye.